Hey guys, I'm Robyn, my husband Victor, and we've been traveling the world for 3 years, and we're actually about to reverse the question that everybody asks. We're about to upsize our life again, and after 3 years of downsizing, we really didn't do a great job of capturing and explaining why we did it, because we were just so busy traveling and exploring. And honestly, to upload YouTube videos, you need this thing called Wi-Fi, and it's so hard to get Wi-Fi when you're on the move all the time. So now that we're more rooted and we're working on going back and upsizing our life, now we're trying to cram in everything that we can help other people with and teach you, so that you know, like, is it worth downsizing? Can I downsize? How do I downsize?
And have
Why
a confidence.
Yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely. So today we wanted to go over, why we did it. Why did we sell everything, or why should you sell everything?
Well, we didn't sell everything. Sometimes we just gave it away, right? I think one of the biggest things in downsizing is that you really start to narrow down what you really want. A really good pair of shoes, a nice bike, your surfboard, your wetsuit. And then all of a sudden you start really putting a value, because you have limited size on what you do carry around.
In fact, the other day we were next to some people who just moved into their RV, and they came over and they said, what should we keep? And I hadn't even seen what their pile of stuff was yet, but I walked. They had like a pile of clothes. I don't even know if we ever owned that much in our whole life, but they had a pile of clothes like this high and like 10 feet long. Okay, so this might be multiple videos. Let's start with that part. So I walked up to them, I looked at all their clothes. They're like, what should we keep? And granted, there's just 2 of them and a baby and maybe a 20-foot trailer. And there's that book, the Magic Tidying Up, Changing Your Life, whatever it is that Asian girl wrote. And like literally you hold it up and go, does this spark joy? I'm not kidding. Do that. Like, does this spark joy? It's so hard. Do we still have to downsize?
Oh yeah.
Even though we're about to upsize, we don't know if we're going to upsize or when we're going to upsize. It might be tomorrow. It might be a year from now. I don't know. But we think about, like, I still have to like get through this transition.
But even such, like, even if we end up going more conventional, and what that means, we're getting jobs and putting down some roots for a little bit, I still feel a value in understanding, like, I don't need 20 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
So that's
it would be nice to have a pair of shoes that don't have holes in them like this, though. So it's like this fine in between, because here's what happens. Your job, if you're really thinking like, I want to downsize my life, first thing, stop buying. Like, it's really, really hard, but like, stop. If you can stop being a consumer for a little while, that's your first step. You will be amazed how much of the world you can see if you just stop consuming and can just go to a maintenance phase in your life. Like, okay, let's see if we just don't buy anything. Let's not go to the mall this weekend. Let's not go shopping. Then see if you can start tailoring down your expenses. That was the first step in downsizing, was we tried to minimize how much was going out and how many like expenses. Remember, we cut cable right away. That was one of the first things. And
well, sure. I mean,
little things like that. I mean, the way we've traveled the world and stuff is because, yeah, we have a little bit of car insurance, but we drive really old cars, and so they don't cost that much. And we don't, other than food, we have no expenses. And
right,
cell phones.
living small. That's the premise of tiny living as well, right?
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so you want to start by spending out less. And people say, skip that Starbucks coffee. Honestly, we've never been those type of people we don't drink Starbucks. Only if we absolutely need Wi-Fi. But like it's not so much the little things. We've always, just grabbed our growler of beer. It's the bigger things, I think. We still treat ourselves to, beer at night or wine, and if the kids have a treat, it's like go out for ice cream, but it's not those big expenditures. Instead of the hundreds going out, you've got the 20s going out.
Right.
So try the first part, in like we were going to say why you should do it is why should you downsize?
Because it opens up options. So for us, traveling with a family of 7 is expensive, and so when we ended up downsizing, it frees up time and your money. And so by living small and cutting down your expenses, now you're stretching your money a little farther. And particularly the way that we traveled, or Robyn has us travel, it really goes far. We tent camp. We occasionally stay in a Airbnb just to recuperate, but we are always eating meals we prepare, and that saves money as well too.
Another big part is, like for example, today, Victor, if you don't know our story, you know, we had a job for a long time and lived in an RV and did long trips, like people would consider it long-term travel, but it was just a long vacation, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, before we started doing 6 months at a time. And now we're kind of coming back up. So think of it as like a bell curve, you know, downsize your life enough so that you can test it out. Short trips, maybe you downsize to an RV and you stay rooted. I mean, a lot of people just downsize to an RV and find a RV park that they can live in full time. In San Diego, that worked pretty good for us for a couple months, but you start, and then you kind of build up the skills. Everything's gradual, small steps. And as you build up those skills and you feel like, okay, I've gotten rid of this pile of clothing that I don't need. Okay, we'll go back. The spark joy thing, like literally, if you're like, I might use it one day, it's gone.
Get rid of it.
Don't sit, nothing I might, or I, what if.
Like this jacket. Like.
And then have like go-tos. This jacket, like I wear almost every day. It packs down this small. Everyone has a Patagonia jacket. Just have like really, like you said, not 20 pairs of shoes, a pair of tennis shoes that you can beat up, a pair of flip-flops, a pair of nicer shoes.
In case you go out.
In case you go
or
out.
Or dress flip-flops.
Well, yeah, that's true. Clothes that are versatile work really well. Now it's hard because the lady who was asking us, what do we get rid of? She had a job that, actually, I have a job now that I have to dress up. I've never had to wear fancy clothes. And so now I had to buy like 3 outfits that are, getting smoked out there, Gabby? 3 outfits that are nicer, and it's hard to store it in our RV. But you know, you adapt, and then the fact that we just put in, you see me in the smoke, about to put in a day's work. We both work today, and like you come back to the forest, and you have a campfire, and you sit with your growler of beer. You know, you appreciate life and enjoy life so much more. I was thinking today, because we went to, Victor's a trainer and he works at a gym, and I did a workout at his gym, and I was thinking of smiling as I'm doing it. I'm like, why are people not happier? Why are they not smiling? I'm like, I freaking love my life. Like, that's the thing. You downsize, and all of a sudden you're like, you don't need that much. It's not about, you know, the workout was bonus, the campfires, but everything in life just becomes bonus. Gabby and I rode this badass trail this morning, and it's like, it's not one thing that becomes so amazing. It's like the sum total of everything just becomes amazing. And so if you can make your life as simple as that, then you're on the right track. Does it spark joy?
Well, but you also have to figure out what it is that you really like.
Absolutely.
If you downsize and you go outside, but you don't really like the outdoors, it's not going to work. Figure out your why, or you always say that. Figure out your why, or figure out what you are. I thrive a lot in ocean environments, right? Like beaches and wind. Robyn was like, "Oh, you very love this wind." I love ocean breezes, like some kind of cleansing, detoxifying thing. So realize where you thrive and what your body really feels good doing. I mean, we were in Bali and it was rustic, but it was because it was still in my same element. I feel like, well, this is cool.
Yeah, you like the wind that was going through there, and you like the just being on the sand.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, if anyone, we're upsizing because of that. Like, he loves routine. He loves the gym. So this might have to be part 2 because I don't want to make this one too long. But think about, should everybody travel long term? No. So we're talking 2 things. You're talking downsizing your life and long-term travel. 2 totally separate elements that we just happen to combine together for a while. But downsizing your life is really the first step. Don't you think? Like, because right now, as we're upsizing, we might not be traveling, but we don't want to upsize so big that we feel tied down to things
stressed and
again.
Sandwiched again. Pressure. And that's what downsizing is like.
Take the pressure off.
Take the pressure off. We live at a time where people and humans, we're just not designed to handle this amount of pressure. So if you're feeling like you can't breathe, you're having anxiety issues, that's your body giving you signs, don't you think, Robyn? Yeah, your body's
absolutely.
saying, hello, I can't handle this. Now, more power to you if you just want to take some meds for it, or you can really start scratching at the surface as to what you need and have the wherewithal to, like, you have to have the guts to do this. And it's not for everyone. It certainly isn't. Like, traveling is way harder on me. As a matter of fact, I always laugh because when Robyn travels, she's vibrant, she's glowing, like she's lean and mean, and I'm quite the opposite.
Yeah, and now that we're rooted a little bit more, as rooted as we could consider rooted, but yeah, like he's a different person already. So really finding that compromise, and
that balance.
You know, if you need help with this, that's what we do with coaching. Like, we can help you find that balance for sure.
Yin and yang.
Yeah, and more than likely, it seems like every couple we meet, one person thrives on it, one doesn't, and so you got to find that balance early on. And there are so many different tweaks you can do. There's just because you see one family traveling the world in these beautiful hotels.
Well, that's perception anyway.
It's perception.
We don't know what's behind the scenes. The reality is, like, especially with families, there's someone always going to be in flux, and
somebody's always grumpy.
Yeah. So
always.
Just realize that. Find that balance for yourself.
All right, we're going to be back. That'll be part 1, since you're getting smoked out. Part 1. Part 2, tomorrow night.
We should give him a job. Like, okay, if you like this video, you should go through your closet and, like, start saying, like, if you haven't worn something in 6 months, I remember you told me that.
Oh yeah,
get rid of it. Worn it in 6 months. Get rid of that thing.
If you read my book, The Road Less Traveled, in the first paragraph, that pretty much tells you the first 2 years of our travel and stuff in that book, and you can get it for free. It's when you opt into our Nomads with a Purpose newsletter. But it's funny, I literally, when we were moving out, I held up all of his like yearbooks, and because he had held on to all these things.
Yeah, I'm more of a pack rat. I was holding on to all my medals and awards and stuff like that. You haven't looked at these forever.
Like, we literally have just moved this to 20 different garages. At what point? And like, we still have three boxes of like pictures of the kids and photo albums that we're still holding on to, that are like, literally fill up the back seat of my van. And it's kind of sad because you're like, why do we have these? But anyway, so yeah, go ahead. I do the spark joy.
Here's your challenge.
Little thing, you know, I really, like, most of my Carve Your Path course is trying to help you with this, like, really get to the root of, like, what is it that, like, gets you excited? What's going to make you so excited to jump out of bed that you could care less if you threw away most of your closet?
Right.
It really is.
It's a good challenge.
Thanks, you guys.